Good to the chopper. Go grab the Marlin and go run. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Caliber Corner, Season 5, Episode number 273. We had a very lively pre-chat. I think we need to just open up the pre-chat, and you guys can hear the stuff that we talk about. We talked about everything from breakfast burritos to cookies to what else? We just pickup trucks. We're having a good pre-chat. So anyway, we're ready to get started. Today we're talking about Marlin Firearms, the past, the present, the future. Shout out to Tony York for suggesting today's topic. It isn't always easy for me to come up with ideas for fresh topics, and we'll recycle some if there's a topic that we haven't discussed for 3 or 4 years. We'll turn around and talk about it again just to see how times have changed. And so anyway, today talking about Marlin, and it's an important discussion because for a lot of people that want a Marlin firearm, specifically a lever action, you've got to make this decision. Do I go like legacy or vintage pre-Ruger, or if you want to make the decision, get it during the Remington ownership period, or do you just hold off for the new Ruger models to come out? What do you want to do, right? What's the plan? So that's kind of why we want to have this discussion. Plus, there's going to be the 336s and the model, what do we have here? Model 1894s are going to be coming out soon, and people are going to be paying a premium for them. Is it worth it? I don't know. When you can get a vintage, 336 or the same model for less. So anyway, that's going to be the discussion for today. Also take a look at some of their semi-autos and our experiences with Marlin Firearms is one of the best value options out there. So before we do that, we're going to go and let the panel introduce themselves, and we'll get a little bit of information out there about Thunder on the Prairie 2023, and we'll go from there. So Squibby, are you with us? Did you run off to get your second cup of coffee? You're good to go?
Oh, no, I'm on my, second cup of coffee since I jumped in the pre-chat, but
yeah, there you go. Third,
not my second one of the morning. Yeah, pot and a half a morning.
All right.
Somebody told me yesterday that caffeine amplifies tinnitus. I'm like, I'm screwed.
Oh yeah, no, it's not true. It's not true. I'm fine. I've been shooting guns for years, and I've used coffee, and it's never been an issue. So I think you're going to be fine. So just don't listen to those people. That's fake news. That's fake news.
Yeah.
Oh man, so what you been up to aside from work?
Well, I was filming my 2020 Colorado third year of ownership review video, and I decided to go back and look at the first year video and the second year video, and I couldn't find the second year video. So I went into the hard drive I have over here with all my videos on there.
Okay.
And I'm like, I never published it.
Never released it? You gonna do a 2-3 part series, like 1 week have a part 2, and the next thing, hey guys, just a year later.
No, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to publish one. It's on one of my B channels, but I'm going to publish one, and then maybe a week or 2 later, publish the other one, and just put an explanation. I'll just add an intro to the second year, or put it in the third year and put a link, or I don't know, whatever. But just my experience as an owner, what I've learned about the truck, what I like about it, what I don't like about it. It's really probably something somebody could use if they were looking to buy one of these used and said, this guy bought it brand new, and he
remember at the end of year 3 is end of lease terms for a lot of people. So how good do these things hold up when other people are driving the vehicle that you want to buy? That's a big question, because a lot of these lease vehicles, when they turn around and resell them, they're selling them at near sticker price because they can. It's not like you're going to get $10,000, $15,000 off of what you could have spent. They're going near MSRP, maybe $700-800 below MSRP, and it's a vehicle with 30,000 miles on it or more by the time you get it.
Yeah, well, I noticed that on my 2020 Colorado playlist, I was looking at the views on the videos. I'm going, really? On this channel? Are you kidding? Yeah, people watch stuff like that, how to change your oil and things. And
definitely.
So I need to finish working on the third year review video this weekend and publish both of those, and just, accept the fact that I'm a moron. Actually, I found a bunch of videos that I filmed, or I had them all ready to go and just never uploaded them to the studio, and you can hear the buzzing of the microphone from my old camera in there. So I'm adding them a little here. I'm going through different folders going, what is this? Delete this. This is junk taking up space. Oh, I never finished this. Oops. This weekend I'm going to be working on some of that stuff. Nothing, life change or whatever. The things that I make videos on, really there's a few people that watch, all 16 of you that watch the videos. Thanks. I appreciate that. But yeah, no, it just, whatever. So I'm not looking for like, oh man, this one's going to be the breakthrough and I'm the next Hickok. No, I don't, whatever. Now I thought about doing an after show after Rick's show today. And I should have put something in the community tab and all that, but I didn't. So I don't know if some people out there in the audience want to see a show. We're going to call it After Rick's Life as I See It. Not like 9 hours, and I get hammered on air and go to bed on all you guys.
You say that now, but who knows what's going to happen? You're like, oh, it's afternoon, it's crappy outside.
Yeah, you never know. You just don't know. But I thought about it.
Yep.
So I'm not saying I'm going to do it just only if people want to see it. Maybe I'll do it, maybe I won't. But yeah, if maybe somebody out there has an idea. I mean, I've got a few show ideas. And what I'd really like to do is just do a show where I talk about the rules for my show when I start doing
You should do that. The post-show, pre-show rules meeting.
Pre-post,
prototype,
prototype,
the faculty meeting.
Yeah, something like that. So
yeah.
So stay tuned or don't. It's if you want to waste an hour of your life this afternoon, but thought about just doing something after we go out there after Rick.
Sounds good, man. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Also joining us, we got Kingpin in the house. What's going on, man? What are you doing?
Not too much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Are you excited for today's Marlin discussion? Are you pumped up?
Oh yeah. I like the lever guns.
The lever guns. We're gonna call them lever guns just to irk people the whole time. So, all right, man. So you staying busy or what? So far, so good, Kingpin?
Oh yeah. I'm definitely saving ammo. That's for sure.
All right, man. And then also joining us, who found one of my cousins or family photo. We've got Foos going on this morning. Foos, is that?
Sorry, I'm a little late.
Is that you back in your college years? Is that thumbnail pic? Is that what we're looking at here?
No, that's just a random picture I grabbed. Just
hey, man, that's all right, dude. It's like, how are you doing? You staying busy too, or what?
Yeah. After last week's chat, I moved.
Okay.
And then so I'm getting the new place set up with the woman, and then I need to after this chat, I'm gonna head back to the old place and finish emptying it out. So
you moved as in it was like on the to-do list, or you were so appalled by last week's show that you had to move to get away. It's like, I need a fresh start after this show.
I don't know. I don't want to rip on people watching it, but it was a very grumpy crew. That was not you guys, but like everybody was just edgy last week, and nobody was that's the worst part about being the lead guy here in the morning to start up everybody's weekend. Like, people just let their frustrations go on me, and I'm just their emotional punching bag. So sorry, guys. I'm just here to try to make everybody happy. That's all. But
So no, last week it was a plan to move. It's been on the not chopping block, but on the list of things to do for several months. So
okay.
It was
you might as well just sit on your empty house for a while. It's just going to keep going up in price anyway. Why sell it now? Wait 6 months and sell it for another $50,000,
Well, number one, I was renting it.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I kept thinking you bought it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sell it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The people the house right next to me was empty as well. So
okay. Hey, just buy the whole thing and knock out the wall, and you got his side and her side. That way you guys can cohabitate when you feel like it. When you don't, you got your man house, your man cave, and she's got her she shed right next door. So, I'm telling you, dude, that's the way you do it. I have no idea what I'm talking about, so it doesn't matter. But Foos, we're glad you're with us anyway. So welcome. Are you excited to talk about Marlin Firearms today? You pumped up? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, well, goodbye. No, I'm just kidding.
The only ones are Winchesters. No, I'm kidding.
The only good Marlins are Winchesters. Yeah. All right, man. Well, it'll be
wait a minute. Does Foos have any lever actions?
I do. I have a preset. Well, no, it was I think it was like 78 or 79 Winchester 30-30, and then I do have a Henry 30-57.
Oh, cool. Okay. All right.
Okay. All right.
And see here's the thing though too. If you're looking at these, these pre-Ruger, even maybe pre-Freedom Group, JM barrel marked, 336s or Marlins, like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, do I just go buy a new Henry for the same price, or do I go with a vintage, Marlin? Because build quality, we're talking about just cool factor, appreciation and value. It's just like, to me, it's almost a wash between the two. Which way do you go? So that's kind of the idea. We are going to talk about kind of the past of Marlin, how they got started. We'll take a look at what they're coming out with this year, because we've got 2 new models that are going to be premiering, and it's going to be a big deal. It'll be on all the freaking YouTube channels. once they finally get out there, they were already starting to show up heavily on SHOT Show because they showed off a Ruger-owned, Marlin-produced 336 at SHOT Show, and it looks beautiful, looks great. But, I mean, they're going to be so in demand, it's going to be crazy. So, all right, let's go give a little shout-out on the YouTube side, then I'll talk about Thunder on the Prairie really quick, and we'll kind of get things moving here. So, we've got, Tony says, the later Freedom Group guns were not bad. Yeah, there was a time period, maybe, I don't remember when they bought them. We'll talk about the dates when we talk about the history. There's the first couple of years it was really rough, and then they got better. In fact, DefenseStat has like one of the last of the Freedom Group guns that were made, and it's fine. It's got a buttery smooth action, good fit and finish, good build quality, and you just picked it up at Walmart, So out there we got Squiblift, we've got Tony York, we got Kingpin, we got GTP Productions, we've got Sunny Guns out there, we got DefenseStat, 500 Magnum, Zinger, Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy, we got Tactical FUD out there, we got MCK in the house, we got Squiblift out there, Squiblo, the whole Squib Empire's here today. Tacos and French Fries, Tactical FUD, Tommy Gun, everybody's starting with a T. Who else is out there? Mountain Views in the house. I think M. Gabriel might have checked in earlier if I wasn't mistaken. We do have a poll out there also asking if you guys have ever owned or currently do own a Marlin firearm. They're fairly popular. So, okay. So let's go and get things going here. Oh, okay. So Thunder on the Prairie 2023, that's going to be a gathering of YouTube channels and Pro 2A enthusiasts at Nebraska Shooters in Firth, Nebraska. I do have a video posted on my channel. If you go look at it, it's called Thunder on the Prairie 2023. It's like an update video with all the information you need. It talks about where to go to register. There's a password that you need to get entered that's in the description box on the video. It talks about the cost, the event, what's going to happen, who's on board. And so right now, we do have Cleanse Oil, Versacarry, Bear Creek Arsenal, Blackout Coffee Company, hopefully Monstrum. We've got a lot of the same sponsors that we had last year that are on board. Media Ammunition, I'm going to contact them, and hopefully they'll be the official ammo sponsor like they were last year, which was awesome. I did get a massive box from Cleanse Oil today, or a couple days ago, 2 days ago. I reached out to their VP of marketing, and he was the guy that sent me a box of their products just out of nowhere. They watched my cleaning videos, and they noticed that I used their products in their video. I bought their products out of pocket. So they sent me a cool box of all their products to try out. So I've been using them for the last year, and I've just actually gone back into buying them again from those guys because I'm not sponsored by them. But they did give me a huge box of stuff to give away at the event. So swag bags are going to get Cleanse Oil with them. We're going to have a station set up where you can show stuff off, maybe do a video if you want to. Have a cleaning station for people, or they can clean up their guns before they go if they want to. So we're going to have all that set up, which is really cool. So Cleanse Oil is the official gun care product of Thunder on the Prairie 2023. 2-day event. I always mix up the dates. It's just the first weekend in June, a Saturday and Sunday. One day is going to be, we've got a lot of fun stuff planned for the first day. A lot of competitive shooting events will happen the first day, and then open range time in the afternoon. And then on Sunday, we're going to have time for people to safely film. If they want to make range videos that they normally can't make back at home, they can do that, reserve a time slot. It's going to be a lot of fun. So it's just a good time to get a bunch of people together. We usually go out for dinner. We sit around, shoot each other's guns, shoot guns, have a fun time, test out a bunch of different products. And that's what it's all about. So we had Squib was there. Foos was there. Okay, also joining us here at the last minute, we got American Hillbilly. American Hillbilly, how you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, buddy. How you guys doing this morning?
Dude, we're doing okay, man. Are you a fan of Marlin Firearms?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah?
I have a few of them myself.
Good deal.
Good for a long time.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time. They got a lot of good stuff. So talk about your channel, man. What do you got going on? You got a podcast that you do. You've got all kinds of cool videos that you post, lots of fun stuff. Just tell us about you, man.
Okay. First of all, sorry I'm late. I went to start my computer, or my computer, and decided it had to do that restart on.
Oh, yeah.
Always
install the updates. You try to ignore it as much as you can, but if you try to run it with it pending, it's bogs everything down. So, yeah. Yeah,
but
man.
Anyway, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. My channel, just try to have some fun over there. We have a Saturday night podcast. It's called Guns, Beer, and Therapy. It's
all I know is every time I watch it or participate in it, I always feel better the next day, and it's free. That's the best part about it. There's no insurance deductible. You just show up and bring whatever you want to the table, and we all just have a good time.
yeah, it is. And the videos, as far as I got coming out, I just last week I did one that had to do with the eggs, called it Eggflation. It was kind of a fun video. I have the new High Point JXP 10mm.
You did
So I
pick
got
it
the
up.
videos.
Yes.
Yeah, I finally found one and got
So what
it
do you think of that
here.
cordless drill? It's pretty sweet, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I think it weighs like 3 pounds, man. I'm hopefully going to get mine out to the range this week. I'm waiting for the weather to clear up this weekend. It just started raining and snowing outside again. It's Nebraska in the springtime, but
Yeah.
hopefully get out on Monday or Tuesday and film a bunch of videos. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah. the
Now,
weather's
has
been
that video
off and
posted
on.
yet? Has that video posted on your channel yet with the JXP10?
No, they'll be
Okay.
posting
It's
like
coming
the
up.
next few days or stuff.
Okay.
So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Good deal,
Well,
man.
thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so real quick, I've got just the kind of the quick history of Marlin Firearms for you. I just want to talk about, what they, and I'm not going to go through the list of all the models, but we can show it off. It's pretty extensive. Just share any experiences we have with any of their models, any recommendations, then maybe have that debate. Is it something worth buying now or is it something worth waiting on, right? So Marlin Firearms, what do we know? They're an American manufacturer of semi-automatic lever-action bolt-action rifles. In the past, the company, now based in Madison, North Carolina, and formerly based in North Haven, Connecticut, made shotguns, derringers, and revolvers. Marlin owned the fire manufacturer H&R Firearms. In 2007, Remington Arms, part of the Remington Outdoor Company, acquired Marlin Firearms. Remington produced Marlin-based firearms at the Kentucky and New York manufacturing facilities. And then finally, in 2020, Sturm, Ruger & Company bought the company from the bankrupt Remington Outdoor Company. Just quick history here. Marlin Firearms was founded in the 1870s by John Marlin. Marlin produced a large assortment of firearms such as lever-action rifles, pump-action shotguns, and single-shot rifles. Marlin was considered the main competitor to Winchester. Now, in World War I, Marlin became one of the largest machine gun producers in the world for the U.S. and its allies, building the M1895 Colt Browning machine gun and a later variant called the Marlin gun optimized for aircraft use. I had no idea they did that. That's awesome. In 1917, Marlin Rockwell bought out the Hopkins and Allen's Arms Company to promote an expanded line of firearms and restore the image of the Marlin Company as makers of sporting arms. Then finally, Marlin Firearms labored for a century as an underdog lever gun maker to Winchester, formerly of New Haven. However, in the 1980s and 90s, Marlin finally began to outpace its old rival. It is currently the dominant seller of lever-action rifles in North America. I question that now because they've been out of production for 3 years, sort of, the Marlins, until now. Its use of side ejection allows for flat-top firearms, thereby making the mounting of scopes easier than for traditional Winchesters. This helped Marlin capture more market share as American shooters came to rely more and more on optics. Marlins are larger, stronger, and heavier than most of their comparable Winchester line, allowing Marlin to use higher power cartridges such as a 4570. And Marlin's model 1894 lever-action rifles and carbines are available in handgun calibers, including 357 mag, 44 and 41 Magnum, making them suitable companion long guns for revolvers in those calibers. All right, last part. In November 2000, Marlin purchased the assets of H&R 1871 Inc., which I think Palmetto State Armory now owns. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I think Palmetto State owns H&R. A Massachusetts-based manufacturer of shotguns and rifles, New England Firearms branded, founded in 1871, now located in Gardner, Massachusetts, marketing its products under the brand names of H&R and New England Firearms. H&R 1871 claimed to be the largest manufacturer of single-shot shotguns and rifles in the world. In December of 2007, Remington Arms Company purchased Marlin. Remington announced in April 2008 it would close the Gardner manufacturing plant by the end of 2008, affecting 200 workers. In March of 2010, Marlin announced that it would close its New Haven plant and move the work to Remington plants in New York and Mayfield, Kentucky. In September 2020, Sturm, Ruger & Company bought the company from the bankrupt Remington Outdoor Company, which puts us where we are today. And so now today we finally got these Ruger-owned Marlins going back into production, getting out there in the wild. And I'll tell you what, guys, people are definitely paying a premium for them. Now, it's not just the lever guns that they're known for. The semi-automatic rifles, and we'll take a look at those also, like the Model 60, the Glenfield Model 75, 75C. Now, I only know a few Marlin Firearms. I've only fired a few. I did own a 336 for quite a while. That I did end up trading, and I regret it to this day, but I can go back and buy one if I want. So what do you guys think? What's your perception of kind of the state of Marlin Firearms today? Are they going to be going back to their former glory once they get more of their models in production and out there in the market? What do you guys think about this? Single shot, we'll start off with you, man. What are your thoughts?
Well, I hope they do. I just got back to the truck. That was a good timing. Hope everybody's doing well. Hello to everybody in the chat. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those models.
Yeah.
especially the 4570.
They don't
I've
last on
always
the shelves. I talked to the guys up at Shields. I'm like, you guys ever going to get an SBL? And they're like, dude, they're like, they're on the shelf for literally 1 hour and people just buy them. He goes, people that just, they see it and they buy it because of the stainless finish, the cool Picatinny rail they put on the 1895s and stuff. And he's like, they are the SBLs. He goes, they just don't last. It's the same thing with Henry also. So demand is strong. You can say what you want, but they can't keep them on the shelves. And the other thing too is if you look at what they go for on, say, Gunbroker, people are paying $400, $500 over MSRP for them, and they're selling. So people don't care; they just want them. So there is a demand. So I don't think that Marlin's keeping up with demand right now. Of course, they were getting restarted after Ruger moved them and set them up. You can't just get a gun company up and overnight. Although Ruger probably has the resources to do so, they wanted to do it the right way.
Oh yeah. But no, I'm in hopes of seeing some of those hit the shelves up here pretty soon. I've not had a chance to get a hold of one yet, but I hope to.
There's a guy that put a video up about a year ago comparing the SBL 4570. He had one that was an actual like Marlin, pre-Freedom Group production one versus the Ruger. And I got to tell you, the Ruger one it's top notch. I mean, it isn't like a night and day difference. Just looking, there's a lot of little details like the wood fitting, the fluting that they do on the bolt. I mean, just the fit and finish of it. It's beautiful. You almost don't want to. I mean, to me, it's taken it away of the status of a truck gun, especially now when you look at what people are paying for these things. Like I wouldn't want to just toss this thing around because it's so beautiful. It's meant to be used and enjoyed.
Yeah, these new lever guns, they're not truck guns.
No.
Well, it is if you
Too
make
expensive.
it. If you don't care, if you bought it just to use it because you just want to enjoy it, I got a feeling a lot of guys might just take it out once a year for their deer hunt. And that's all it's ever going to see, or their big game hunt, essentially. But no, I do agree. If you spend that kind of money, it's like, am I just going to put it in the scabbard and go ride my horse out on the prairie with it, put it on ATV, get it muddy and dirty? I don't know. It's kind of I don't know. It's kind of like what people do with modern SUVs. They don't see anything more than them all, So
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah,
I
exactly. Foose, what's your take on it, man? What are you thinking about this whole the Ruger acquisition and the new Marlins coming out? Is it just like it was before now, or do you think times have changed and people have changed, attitudes have changed? What do you think?
I'm always happy that that there are more options for firearms. Always happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Marlin fan just because for me, a lever gun has the top ejection.
Okay.
That whole side ejection thing, I've never thought it was appealing to me.
So when you shoot the top eject model, these Winchesters, is it just the shell just goes straight up over behind you? Does it fling it off to the right? Does it just kind of work?
Okay. Just shoots right up top.
So I've never owned one before and I've never fired one before. So you think it's a superior design to the side ejection?
No, I'm not saying superior. It is a personal preference.
A personal preference. Okay. We got you.
Mm-hmm.
And also price-wise, I mean, the Winchesters, when you find these out there, prices are going to be pretty comparable. They're going to be more than the Marlins in general. Would you agree with me on that, or even the Henrys for that matter?
No idea on the price.
Not sure? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and Tony says, Marlin's not solely a lever gun manufacturer historically. No, and we had gone through everything that they had made, not to mention the popularity of their semi-autos like the Model 60, 75, the Glenfields that they produced also, Squib, what about you? What's kind of your take on these new Ruger Marlins that are hitting the market, man? You think it's a good thing? You just think it's kind of turned into a rich guy's toy now, or what? Because they did kind of pull the $450 lever gun out of Walmart. It just destroyed that, by having Marlin kind of fall apart the way that it did.
Since I'm not a Marlin guy, I'm not against them. I'm just not a Marlin guy. Yeah. And Marlin guys to me are kind of like Glocktards. My Marlin Model 60 is better than your 1022. My Marlin lever.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and it's kind of like you guys have to go out there and say this every single freaking time to validate your position. If you're doing that, that already tells me that these things probably, are about just as good as the other guns. I mean, really, it's just like. Whatever. Anyhow, so the Marlin owners have kind of ruined Marlins for me. Like if I got one for free or there was a really good deal on one in a caliber I wanted. There was a Marlin 3030 that was operational and I could use it for hunting, and somebody was just selling it cheap just to get rid of it because, you know, maybe selling it for more than a shop would give it, but less than what some of these people sell their used guns for ridiculous. Anyhow,
wait till you see the prices of the 336s. You're gonna be like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm just saying it's like a new in-box one. It's just it. But here's the funny part though. If you look at what those cost versus what people are paying for these Rugers, because they can't get them in gun stores because they disappear before they get to them, there's no difference. So it's like, do you go vintage or do you go new? Does it even really matter in the end? You know, that's the big question. So
yeah, I mean,
don't know.
Not being a Marlin guy and not just having it on my radar at all. I mean, it just, so from my perspective, I'm looking at it as a business thing. Ruger and Marlin are competitors with the 22 long rifle semi-automatic. The inexpensive beginners 22. The squirrel hunting, plinking, everybody's got one of these things, 22. If I was Ruger, I would buy Marlin to shut down the Model 60.
That's why the 60, they don't make the 60s anymore anyway. They're no longer in production. So it's like, so Tony says, I wish Ruger would restart the 60. It would cannibalize 1022 sales. Because, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think a good gun guy or gal would buy both, would own both. I'd own both. I've had 1022s before. I would just for the sake of it. It's like PlayStation versus Xbox. I have both because it's like trying to choose your favorite child. You can't do that. I would just own both just because I love the 60.
But you can absolutely choose on that one.
Nah. We'll debate that later. That's another episode.
I'm not going to say one is better than the other, but from a business standpoint, it makes no sense financially to make both. It doesn't. You can be out there in your single wide trailer yelling and screaming through the roof about how you got to have both or how you got to have your 60 back or whatever. But from a business standpoint, it doesn't make any sense. If there was that big of a demand, if there was that big of a demand, they would have left the assembly line, going or started up a new line. Or there just isn't. And from a business standpoint, you run your competition out of business. You buy them out so you can close them down, and now you have more control over the market. There's still other people out there making semi-auto 22s, but now there's one less. So that's one smart business move by Ruger. The other one is Ruger wasn't making a lever action. They weren't. So they buy the lever action. And if I was Ruger, I would rebrand it. I wouldn't have Marlin on there anywhere. It would be the Ruger 336 and done. Right? Or the Ruger model, whatever. And it's the same thing, the same tooling. And now it's our brand, it's our recognition. It's ours now. We bought it fair and square. And that's the way it is. Unless they did a marketing study, which these marketing studies are not always accurate. And somebody said, if we change it from Marlin to Ruger, we're going to lose market share. We're going to lose sales because people don't identify with us being a lever action. So we've got to keep the name.
Here's what's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be like, I'm not going to pay you $1,200 for a Ruger 336. But I'll pay $1,200 for a Marlin 336.
And that's just it.
Because it's a Marlin. Even though it's probably made in the same facilities as Ruger, it's on the same property. I think they moved everything to Ruger's headquarters or around that area or whatnot. So, yeah.
If they're sitting in the boardroom and a marketing guy says, look, we can sell them for this higher price because now they're really in demand because we control it. But if we rebrand it to make it our own, and the guys that are rubbing their hands together going, money, money, money. You got to understand something. Not all of these gun companies are run by gun guys. Now, some of you out there, well, so-and-so company out of a tin shack in Montana or a bunch
Look at half the stuff that shows up at SHOT Show. They're obviously not designed by gun enthusiasts and gun engineers. They have an idea in their head about something that's going to sell, and they think it's going to sell. And we're like, that is terrible. What an awful idea for a gun because they're not gun guys.
People who've never worked a day in the auto industry are stunned when I tell them how many people make decisions about the cars you buy, about what options are there, what they're going to sell, what price it's going to be, all this stuff, right? Who are not car guys at all. They don't care. Their company vehicle that they drive that's part of their pay isn't even the same brand as what the program they're responsible for. I'm responsible for making this thing for a Chevy. We're making this thing for a Chevy, but I'm driving a BMW as my company. You know what I mean? People have no idea. So it's the same thing in the gun industry. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there. They've got their degrees. They come from this industry, that industry. They got this idea. They don't have the slightest clue. If you see them standing there holding a picture of a brand new gun, it's for a photo shoot. It's a publicity stunt. They probably don't even know what end the bullet comes out of. I'm not kidding. So it'll be interesting to see if Ruger just runs Marlin into the ground completely or what they do.
Jay Hike says, I can't wait till I sell my 22-inch 80s Model 60 for $500. So here's the thing. I would say this right now. If you want a Model 60, go buy one now because they haven't quite accelerated in price. Maybe they have from when you bought one 30 years ago, but you can get a nice Model 60, as I'm going to show you, for about $225, which is pretty much on par, even maybe a little bit less than a 1022 with a wood stock. And there's plenty of part support for the Model 60s and all their variants. So consider getting one now, because I think you're going to get yourself a good shooter that can be, and you got to watch out. I think maybe Defense Dad had picked one up. I think he was trying to do some work on it and stuff. But I mean, you can, but the good news is that parts are out there, but if you have to buy replacement parts, you could spend almost as much on it, as the gun's worth and then some. So if you can get a good working model that's guaranteed to be functional, consider going that route. So there we go. Defense Dad says, I can see Squib driving a BMW with this pink polo shirt.
It's tactical salmon.
Tactical salmon. Yes, it helps you blend in. I don't know what kind of an environment. I guess it helps you blend in at the mall. I suppose that's what it's all about. Is that right?
The thing about the BMWs is they got the dang steering wheel that shakes. I don't like that crap, because when you go to make get in the turn lane, it thinks you're driving out. It doesn't know. And it just some of the other stuff.
My Hyundai does that if I wanted to, but
buttons are in the wrong spot, and it just.
What I hate about BMWs, they just fall apart after 100,000 miles. They're overpriced Euro trash.
If they have a recall on them, you're waiting about 3 years, because
they
make the parts in Germany and they never get over here. So yeah.
Not to mention everything under the hood's plastic. Well, that's true on any new car these days.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go move this over to American Hillbilly. What are your thoughts on these new Ruger-owned Marlins that are starting to hit the market? Are you interested in one? You gonna pick up a 336? You want one of those 4570s? What you thinking, man?
I don't know. I'll probably pick one up. Yeah, around here in the mountains, 30-30, rifles are pretty much dominant for deer hunting and stuff like that, because we don't have the long range capability. With all these
dense woods, you're
and
probably looking at
trees.
anything to like point blank out to like, I don't know what kind of a distance because I've been in Missouri, it's just all trees. It's one giant forest, except for the interstate that goes through it.
Yeah.
And then they cleared off for,
there's more than one. There's like 3.
It's just one giant forest, man. That's all you see is tree to shining tree, except for like St. Louis, So I can understand that. So yeah, the 30-30 is a popular gun, Yeah.
Most usually at the most 50-60 yard shots, or something,
And
but,
we'll have people here in Nebraska that'll carry in, because you're good out to 200 yards. I mean, I wouldn't go much past that. It depends what kind of round you're running, but yeah. American Hillbilly, you're kind of chopping up there a little bit, bud. Kind of breaking up a smidge.
Been a
All right,
lot of venison taken with a 30-30.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, so Kingpin, real quick, what are your thoughts on the new Ruger-owned Marlins? Are you interested in picking one up, or are you thinking about getting one?
Yeah, definitely. Get one. The reason I like the Winchester, I also have one of those top ejecting. It's a great gun too, but it's pretty much impossible to put a scope on. And so that's where for me, especially growing up or whatever. I like the Marlin a little better. Or, I mean, as far as function, you can put a scope on it and everything. And they seem to shoot and work about the same for me, Yeah, I'm definitely would like to get one. There's no doubt about it.
Cool, man. Hey, American Hillbilly, you keep breaking up and chopping up. So we're going to go ahead and move over to Kingpin real quick. Hey, Kingpin, you with us, buddy?
Yeah.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the Ruger-owned Marlins? Are you going to try to pick one up? Are you interested in one at all, or do you think they're looking good? What's your take on it?
No, I'm not interested in getting one. Not really much of a rifle guy.
Mm-hmm.
AR, yeah. Other kind of rifles are more of a plink at the range every once in a while thing. I usually stick with handguns.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier how everybody's got an SUV now. You live in the flattest area of the world that it's 80 degrees at the lowest temperature, and you've got to have a Hummer. Firearms are going that way. It's happening right now with the optics and all this other kind of stuff. Firearm is becoming chic. So prices are never going back down, and leather inserts and heated and air conditioning grips, that's all coming.
That's coming.
All coming. And So it's just going to happen. As far as the Ruger thing, I like Ruger. Big fan of Ruger stuff. I think the stuff that they make well, they make exceptionally well. Now, I like the AR from the Ruger. Not everybody does, and I'm willing to accept any criticism of that. I just think it's a really good one.
Yeah,
I
they
feel like
build a nice product.
I feel like everybody, the ECs and the ES and all that little plastic carry junk, they should take every single one they've ever made, refund their money, and chop all those guns into little bitty pieces down to Benchmade. I hope they don't do that with the lever guns. I think, Squid made a pretty good point. Worst case scenario, just put your name on their product. But if they decide to retool and do all this kind of stuff, you're going to end up with a giant plastic EC9S lever gun, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, luckily, what we're seeing now, what's out there, what people are buying, they're staying true to the original design, build quality. They're not cheaping out on anything. Now, I'm sure you're not going to get the forged, tool steel of the original 336s, or, you're going to be getting probably some MIM parts, which again, Ruger, in my opinion, has perfected. You don't hear about a lot of Ruger MIM part failures because they're making it's a little bit cheaper.
What's going to end up happening is just like what Winchester is. They're going to be like, oh, is that a pre-72? I mean, it's just going to start doing that.
Well, I don't know any better, but I think the idea of like the Callahan Auto, I just want the name on the box. Ruger should buy whatever. Let Marlin, people like the Marlins, make Marlins, sell them as Marlins, and just put your money in Ruger's pocket. Like,
and I think that's pretty much what they're doing,
Is that the Trapper or the Carbine?
So, I was just going to scroll through these real quick and show you. So this is what's coming out or what's currently out for Marlin, if you can find them, and you can look these up, and you can find them online. But what I like to do is to go over to like gun.deals and then type in the model I'm looking for and find a regular dealer that's selling them. But even dealers are selling these over MSRP most of the time. Now, the ones that I see in Shields, they go for MSRP, but dealers are marking these up $100, $200, $300 over because of the demand. Demand is so great for these, and the numbers are just, I'm sure they're making them, but they're getting snatched up as quickly as they can make them. So we'll take a look at it real quick. We got the 1895 SBL, the 1895 Trapper, the 1895 Guide Gun. All three of these are currently shipping, and it says with limited availability. I've seen one SBL and one 1895 Trapper actually on the shelves at Shields. I didn't buy them because I wasn't interested in those at the time. I kind of wish I would have. I'm holding out for a 336 like a lot of guys, but they're out there. But you're looking at that SBL, you're probably looking at around $1,500, if not more, for one if you can find one. But yeah, just really, really, really beautiful guns. I mean, the fit and finish on them is amazing. Chambered to 4570. Single shot, do you have one of these in 4570? Do you have an original?
No, I don't. I wish I did, I'll tell you, because I've handled those, and they are really nice rifles.
Yeah, the Picatinny rail on the top pretty much gives you every option that you're going to need. Your ghost ring sight. I mean, they're beautiful. And I think, their popularity showing up in movies and TV shows like Jurassic Park and stuff, that does drive the popularity of a lot of firearms. It just does. Like, people see them in the movies and they want them. I'm thinking about movies like like Wind River and stuff, where that was one of the featured guns. Was a lever gun also. They show you some of the differences. What you
I
can
got
get
two
now.
4570s, but they're not lever axes.
Okay.
Travis, looking at this and some of the features here on this, I think I know what would inspire me to buy one of these.
What's that?
If they had it in pistol caliber that I wanted, that Bighorn Armory was selling for $5,000, and these guys were selling this for like 12 or 15.
Yeah,
it's American made.
Yep.
It's American made. It's quality. Bighorn Armory, I don't doubt that they make a high quality item, but they make in such limited numbers, and they charge just this ridiculous price. Now, it's a capitalist society. They can do that. Ruger can jack up the price of Marlins, things like that, right? A lot of people were telling me they bought a Marlin over a Henry because it was $100 cheaper or $300 cheaper. And that was their only reason. It's cheaper, or it's got the King's Gate on it or whatever. Okay,
or it's available. It was actually on the shelves. I'm tired of waiting 6 months because I might not be here 6 months from now.
So for me, buying a $5,000 Bighorn Armory chambered in, say, 460, or if the Marlin was chambered in 460, they're both American made. So where's my incentive to buy the Bighorn armor if the Marlins got all the same gizmos on it out of the box? You know what I mean?
And they're making
Yeah.
these, I mean, 410 stainless cold hammer forged barrel. I mean, you're not going to get, I don't know if they're going to do the micro groove rifling in the new 336s like they had, because that was kind of a controversial thing because it was somewhat ammo finicky on the 336s.
I would say most likely not.
I don't know. We'll have to look on. I'll look. See, and they're not giving us any details on the 336 because it's not really out there yet. So they're not giving us these features. Like we have no idea what's on there. There were a few minor changes that they're making this. They're marking this as a Marlin. So instead of having the black and white Marlin little plastic dot inset in the stock, it's red and white. But you got the Marlin logo laser etched in the pistol grip. I mean, it's a beautiful gun. Like the one I saw in the store was absolutely beautiful. I feel like it's worth the price they're asking just because of what you're getting. And they talk about all the different, different features and stuff. Spiral fluted nickel-plated bolts, oversized lever loop, slim forearm, beautiful wood on that thing also. Just very, very cool. And does have its own RP proof markings on it now. It's like the JMs, they've got the RP on there also. Very, very cool. All right, so then the next one that they have is the 1895 Trapper. Says it was conceived by hunting and fishing guides in Alaska who needed a big bore rifle that was short, quick handling, and optimized for hunting or protection from dangerous animals. So we've got this one also. It's a little bit cheaper, not quite as expensive. I think this one's 11 or 1200 if I'm not mistaken for MSRP on it. But yeah, I mean, fit finish on this thing, just absolutely beautiful. This one does come with Skinner sights on it from the factory. We'll show off a little bit more, kind of show some of the features on it. They are doing the threaded barrels too, so if you wanted to suppress it, you could, or some sort of a muzzle brake. If you wanted to go that route, you could also. So that's also the same situation on the SBL. And I think that's something that the original Marlins didn't have. That's one of the differences between them. So there's some minor differences. Oh, this one's $14.49, so it's almost as expensive. Okay.
I got a quick question for you, Travis.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
And some of you guys, like I'm sure Squid would be up on the history of things. You mentioned earlier, this is a nice, expensive, shiny, pretty gun that you're not just going to want to throw on the back of your four-wheeler and go mud bogging through the woods on.
Yeah.
Did cowboys back in 1865 do that too? Didn't they take good care of their guns and clean their guns just like we do?
Oh, absolutely. But
they were also tools that were essential for survival. I think they relied on them maybe more than what we do now. Mm-hmm. So I mean, your food, if it was going to be on the plate, you had to go get it.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but see, we have the significance of 100 years worth of civilization.
Yeah.
So when you go on your four-wheeler out camping and you're just going to target, shoot, or hunt, that's just as important as 1865 guys' survival. Now you're not going to die. You're not going to die if your firearm doesn't work, but your whole vacation just got ruined because your gun's all muddy and you can't target shoot or you didn't get that deer or whatever. So we've got a whole lot of comfortable living in between us and them to think about the same kind of thing. Yeah, maybe he died because the bandits came out and his gun had dirt in it. Well, I mean, I get that.
To me, the difference is this. Like today, okay, you go out and you shoot it, get it muddy, whatever. Yeah, some people clean it. If you're, big ATV guy or all that stuff, you probably just going to shoot it and then put the gun up. Where back in the day, they shoot it, and then they take care of it. They don't have the TV. They don't have all this other stuff. Like they knew their firearm inside out. They inspected it all the time. They made sure the thing was out and running in top notch.
I was thinking about a couple nights ago. Well, no, it was 2 weeks ago when the power went out and the house was lit by candles. How much of a pain it would be to clean your firearm at night by the campfire and not lose any parts or anything else like that. There's something to be said about that. A lot of people bought what they could afford. They needed something, and sometimes they would buy something that wasn't as new, it wasn't as shiny. They bought what they could afford, and they would do what they could to maintain it. And some people did their own repairs. Other people would have to take it into town to have a smith repair it or something like that. But they knew that if they didn't take care of it, it was going to break down, and they didn't have money to buy another one. So it would behoove them to take care of it when they had the time. As far as having a nice shiny gun and not wanting to scratch it up, there are some guns that I have that I don't want to scratch up, and there are other guns that they get scratches, nicks, and gouges, and it's like, that's what I got it for. So I can't imagine somebody back then would all say that they would never be a little bit rough with this tool, because that's all it is. It's another tool. But a lot of people back then were poor. They didn't have credit cards back then, things like that, right? So they had to maintain what they had.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, my grandpa had some of his guns that he had when he was a kid. It was just like what they have. He had some sort of a semi-auto 22, and then also I think just like a bolt-action rifle that was his dad's. And that's pretty much all they had. No other guns, and that's what they would use to go get deer or go get other game when he was a little kid. 'Cause he grew up on a farm. They didn't even have electricity until a little bit later on. Didn't have any running water until later on in his life at the farmhouse he grew up in. So yeah, I can see that. I mean, here's the thing though. Kingpin, there's going to be legitimate guides and outfitters that will buy these guns and will use them. That's why these are being made. I mean, these, you're going to have a lot of outfitters that will use them because that's the best tool you can get. So I can see that. I think a lot of people are going to buy them and then just hold on to them for the value, maybe take them out to the range once in a while. And here's the sad part, Kingpin. I've got a beautiful, Henry color case hardened finished octagonal barrel 30-30. It gets out maybe once a year. I just don't shoot it as much as I probably should. Part of it is I don't want to get it all banged up. I don't want to ruin the finish on it. I paid blah, blah, blah for it. The other part of me is just like, well, I just don't take it out as often as I want to, which is why I want to get a 336, which is kind of funny because I want to make 336 my beater, my truck gun, right? But I'm going to pay more for that than I paid for the Henry. Probably get 2 Henrys for the price of this thing. I paid $750 for my Henry when I bought it 3 years ago.
So my Henry, it shoots just fine.
Yeah,
it just like the fit and finish isn't quite there.
The actions aren't, in my opinion, aren't as smooth as they are in the 336. Just after using defense stats versus mine, it just doesn't feel the same. But Squib, what are you going to say, man?
And granted, I've never shot in a 336 just because I never liked the look.
Okay. Squib, what do you think, man?
So when I got my Henry Big Boy, it was just under $1,000. And that was a lot of money to pay, but I knew it was a Henry, and I knew they'd take care of me. At first, I didn't want to get any sort of nick or scratch on it. It had a silver finish on the receiver, nice wood stock. I mean, beautiful gun, right? Then I took it deer hunting, and I kept taking it to the range to practice with it, or every time I added an optic, I'd have to mess with the sights or the scope or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It got nicks, it got dings, it got scratches. I actually had a problem where it hung up because of the way I mounted the scope, and I got some burrs inside the receiver, and the bolt is dragging on. Filed them out with an emery board, right? I mean, the thing's got some nicks and scratches, and it's been worked on. It's been taken apart. Yeah, I got to tell you, taking apart a Henry is not like taking apart an M16. And I lost a part, taking it apart. I managed to get the gun to work without that part. I emailed Henry and told him, I go, hey, I lost this part. I can't buy it. What can I do? I said, the only 2 things I've ever done wrong with this gun is lose this spring and nick the forend. They mailed me a spring and a complete forend. I didn't even ask them for the forend. They just sent me a note, don't have a nick in your wood. Here, we'll give you a new part for free.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, so if Marlin will take care of their customers like that, I'm not saying take a $1,500 gun that's beautiful and purposely go out there and beat it against a tree like it's an M1 carbine or something. But, if Marlin will take care of you, or if there's good aftermarket support for these, or you can buy parts and you scuff it up a little bit, you can always make it look pretty again later. But if it's a working gun, it's a working gun. Every time I've bagged a deer with my Henry, I've said, despite the fact that it's got scratches and all this, it's a working gun. It's doing its job. It's doing what I paid for. So if they've got these guns with maybe not as nice of a finish, but they still got the options, right? Then maybe that's what you get. You still have a working gun. You're just not so worried about scratching it up.
I would say buy 2.
That's a great idea.
I mean, that's it. Buy one for fun and buy one to just kind of drool over. So if you really feel that strongly about it, Patriot of the Darks. Go ahead, Kingpin. Yeah, go ahead.
everybody's got that pair of tennis shoes in their closet that everyone sees them. They're like, you should have threw those away 20 years ago. And you're like, I wouldn't throw those away for anything in the world because
Oh,
they're,
dude,
they're the
yeah.
best shoes, but they're probably the worst shape.
This is true. This is true. I don't know. It's like anymore, if I find shoes that fit good, I tend to buy 2 pairs because I know if 6 months from now they're not going to be available, or if I can find them, they won't be for that price. So, Patriot in the Dark has a message for everybody. Henry Repeating Arms is initiating a voluntary safety recall for lever action 4570 rifles manufactured between December 14th of 2022 and January 11th, 2023, due to certain conditions. So if you have one, you might want to call Henry that if you bought it over the holidays, or say you bought it after December, or anything like between December and say like March, you might want to make a phone call to Henry and see if your gun's on that. They'll probably put a serial number listing out there that you can look up to see if it's part of the recall. So, that's, yep. So is that something you guys want to look for? Patriot wanted to get that message out to everybody.
So what
Kevin,
was?
go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No.
I'll say Kevin June just said my first gun was a Marlin 22 semi-auto. Love it. And I still have it. Yeah, he's model 60s, man. You can pick them up cheap, in my opinion. I would say go get one before they go up in price. Go ahead, Squib.
What was Marlin customer support like when Marlin was Marlin? And what's Marlin customer support like now that Marlin is Ruger?
Well, so Marlin was Marlin pre-Freedom Group Marlin. Is that what we're talking about?
Kind of. Yeah,
because I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. It hopefully would have been good because it would have been a large company at that point. That's kind of when they peaked out before they got bought out by Remington. And then the Remington one, they did have information on the website, like what to do if you need to get your 336 serviced after the Freedom Group acquisition. And then Freedom Group, sold out in 2020 or whatever. Or now that, I don't know if that was 2020 or not. No, Remington would have probably bought it from Freedom Group. Is that right? I think so. Maybe Freedom Group was Remington. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just call it the post JM Marlin phase, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Freedom Group
that I had
Remington
was, go ahead.
Go ahead, Squib.
Oh, I was just saying Freedom Group.
The dealings that I had. Go ahead. Sorry, Squib.
Single shot. You stop, Squib. You go ahead. I'm gonna direct traffic here. Okay, blow the whistle. Okay, go ahead, Squib. Let's try this third time.
I'm fine.
All right. So here we are looking at the model 1894. This one's also going to go back into production. Tony York had said that they're going to make it, I think you said 44 mag. I hope they do it in 357. I don't know if they have plans to or not. They're not giving us much information on the Marlin website, except just simply to say that it's spring of 2023 when it's going to come out. So that could be anywhere between now and June, basically. Beautiful gun. Those are awesome. And again, the cool idea of having the same revolver, your sidearm is going to be using the same ammunition as your carbine or your rifle. I think that's really handy. I think that's pretty cool from like a cost perspective, or if you're a reloader, that makes it very, very viable as a tool to have. So something to consider. I don't know what these 1894s are going for used. We're going to be heading over to Gunbroker here pretty soon to do some shopping, but that is cool that they're going to get them back into production. Okay, so Tony said yes, 357 too. And think about that, guys. 18-inch barrel, 18-inch barrel with 357 mag or 44 mag. That's going to generate some pretty stout power levels. I mean, that's going to be
it's hella
take
fun.
care of most of your game. I mean, that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's you really get yourself, a stout round going on there. Yeah. All right.
It's
so
all kinds of fun. I have a
Yeah.
Henry 357, and the woman loves it.
Yeah, and I've shot Squib's Henry. Squib, what was that? 44 Magnum, is that right?
Yeah, it's 44 mag, 44 special, big boy. It was before they put the Kingsgate on them, so it's still, I think, current production just with that addition to it.
Okay.
What is the Kingsgate? The side loading gate?
Yep.
Yeah. So so a lot of people call them side loaders, whatnot. I call them Kingsgate from a historical standpoint. A gentleman by the name of King sold the patent, or helped develop, I shouldn't say sold the patent, but helped develop the side loading gate for Winchester. Oliver Winchester never made a gun in his life. He's not a gunsmith. He's not a blacksmith. He probably doesn't even know how to screw in with a screwdriver. People think he's a gun maker, and he's not. He sold shirts.
He's a businessman.
He's a businessman, and he Benjamin Tyler Henry was not a businessman, and he went to work for Winchester to make the Henry rifle. And then from there, Henry more or less set him up with a contract that, Winchester set him up with a contract that's helped Winchester and didn't help Henry. And Henry was just not a businessman enough to realize he was signing a really bad deal. And eventually Henry got ticked off and left. And Winchester's like, I don't care. I've got the patent, and I got this guy named King working for me. And, you know, and the Henry rifle itself, or the Winchester rifle, really started off with the volcanic, and that, you know, from there, that had little bits of this. Everybody threw their thing in from the early 1800s all the way to almost the 20th century. Just add this and add that and add this to make the Winchester rifle. So some of these gun companies copy things off of each other, or, you know, the patent is run out or whatnot, but you wouldn't believe how many different people have been involved. So the side loading gate is the invention of a guy whose last name was King.
Tony says he was a shirt salesman. So
yeah. He could sell you a nice polo, probably in tactical salmon. So,
so looking at these 1894s, you know, these, just looking at what's for sale out there, $974 is the starting price for a pre-64 Winchester 94. Then from there, they jump up to $1,300, then $1,400 and $1,500. But I mean, here's the thing, guys. When those Rugers come out, they're probably going to be about the same price. So do you just go buy yourself a vintage original? You know, hopefully you're going to get yourself a good shooter. It'd be nicer to buy one in person and see it. Say go to Wanamaker, you'll have your choice of dozens of them, right? Or do you just wait and get yourself the new one? To me personally, I'm almost more old school. I'd almost rather go the vintage route. I guess it depends on what you want to do with it. You know, you're going to be getting something that's somebody else's owned. You don't know what kind of use or abuse it's had. You don't know what the rifling looks like. I'd want to see some pictures of the rifling before I spent $1,300 on one. But to me, it's just like, man, what do? Do you buy a new one or do you go vintage? I'd almost say vintage just because of the internal components I think are going to be superior, but that's just me. I don't know what you guys think.
That's a tough call, because you see that on other guns. If you look at something like a trapdoor Springfield, you could buy an original for the cost of a reproduction. Some other guns in that genre, like Sharps. The M1 carbine, the new manufacturer M1 carbine costs as much as an original. Why wouldn't you want the original? I get it. Maybe you don't want to damage it. So like you said, Travis, you buy two, right? Look at some of the black powder reproduction guns that I like. An original is $1,500. Yes, it's a little bit rusted and you're going to have to do some work to it and stuff like that, but it still works. Or the reproduction that is always out of stock is $1,500. Well, why would I? So this is one of those tough calls that, I mean, I don't understand why somebody making a reproduction or a brand new production gun wouldn't look at the used market and go, how do we compete with this? That's the one discussion I would love to sit in the boardroom and hear how they figured this one out.
One of the things
I'm looking at the price, the prices on these, like what's the most you can spend on one? You can push around over $3,000 if you want to.
Well, pricing is now, obviously nobody on this panel or nobody in the chat would dare do any kind of faulty business practices. So this is for some other people listening to some other show. But if you come from a state like Maryland, which now every single sale, all sales, private, public, whatever, have to go through an FFL. So that estate sales, auctions, yard sales, where you'd find the Marlin Model 60 that somebody wanted $25 for because they either just wanted to get rid of it or they didn't know what they had. A lot of that's going to go away because now all those gun sales have to be recorded. So the FFL is going to look at it and say, well, that's a $500 gun. I'm not going to let you sell it for $25. So Travis says a lot of times, if you find a gun that you like, buy it now.
Yeah, I mean, just my experience as I've been, doing this gun thing for so long is the prices just don't ever seem to go down. Like, we'll have peak times of panic buying where prices spike on guns, but MSRPs always go up. Most of the Rugers that I have purchased, like just new, have gone up $50 to $75, $200 over the last 3 years. So yeah, if you want it, just get it and enjoy it. And that's always been our philosophy on this show, man. If you want it, go get it. That should be the new model for the show, right? If you just want to go get it and enjoy it, because again, like I said, you're not going to lose your money on it. They're fun to shoot. They're and if you look at, and do you want to wait 6 months to try to snag one, a new one that's coming out, or you just want to have one right now? You can buy one right now and have it in a week, or less. So that's kind of the idea behind it. So I do agree with you on that completely, man. So, Yeah, those 1894s, man, you can spend anywhere from $900 up to $4,000 depending on the model. There are some new ones that are unfired, by the way, on Gunbroker that are pushing $1,900 if you want one that's either as an investment piece or you just want to buy one and have a brand new 1894 because you've never had one before. You've got that as an option also. So there you go. Tony says, I do wonder if Ruger's going to bring the 39 back. What's he talking about, guys? Can you help me with this one? The 39. Is it a Ruger Model 39? I'm off the top of my head.
Only Tony knows what it is.
Okay. Because I can go into the list of all the different
around
models.
in 1939 when it came out.
No, he's probably just born. So since he was an infant and he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but he came out of the womb with a lever action and a revolver. So
probably. That's right.
Going hello.
Kevin June says inexpensive and cheap and not the same thing. That being said, Marlin machine work is not STI quality. So yeah. All right. So now we'll kind of move on here a little bit. Now the last one I wanted to talk about was go ahead, American Hillbilly. You got something you want to add?
No, I just want to tell you, sorry about that. As soon as you had me started talking, a big clash of lightning and it started pouring rain and my internet is aerial. So
yeah, well, we're getting you're now catching right now. So there you go. We share the same weather basically. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be hitting here in a second.
Yep. Well, we got the cold front, so that's going to be following up with you guys. It's going to get chilly for your neck of the woods tomorrow.
You guys take as much of it as you want, so that I get less when it gets here.
Oh, don't worry, Squib. It'll be at your door in 3 days. What are you talking
about? I don't need
about?
white and fluffy. No thanks.
All right, now the last one again is the
hey, quit talking about me, white and fluffy.
Oh, now come on. You got a nice redneck red roast going on there, Foos, for being outside. So yeah. All right. Model 336. Again, they just showed these off at SHOT Show. Actual firing models, actual Ruger-owned Marlin-produced 336s. I'm so torn on this. I am so torn on this. I was at Walmart a couple days ago. I actually texted Squib and Defense Dad and Sandals about this. They had a legacy model, Henry 3030. Did not have the King's Gate, did not have the side gate on it. And I'm not a big fan of the 2 mag feed, which is what my Henry has. $738. That's the cheapest I've seen for a 3030 in probably 4 years. I mean, I've not seen them. So I saw that shit. I don't know if they just found one in the back and decided to put it out and sell it. If it would have been the side gate, I would have bought it. So part of me is like, okay, do I just want to go buy a 336 because we're going to look at the prices of them here in just a minute, or do I want to wait for the Ruger-owned Marlins to come out into production? They're going to be the same price. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hey Travis, what's going to hit the showroom floor first? The Ruger produced Marlins 336 or the 2023 Chevrolet Colorado?
I'm gonna have to buy both of them at the same time because it's probably gonna be a year from now we'll be having this discussion. So I finally made my decision on which one I want to buy. Yeah. For those of you out there, I do want to buy a pickup truck really bad. I'm really, really tempted with the Mini Boss, as I call it, which is the Colorado with the Trail Boss package on it. I call it the Mini Boss. It's kind of a video game,
There are shortages everywhere, including manufacturing and all this stuff where they dangle the carrot in front of us, no matter what it is, right? The newest electronic gizmo. Vanessa Kitty likes that word gizmo. Not the gremlin. the newest electronic gizmo or whatever it is. It just seems like this is why I don't take a lot of stock in what they say in SHOT Show, because it's like a year later we're still. I mean, Hill and Mac. I mean, what? PSA had to buy them in order to even that it's down the road. We don't know if it's going to happen. So, I mean, when these things start hitting the market, the prices are going to be nuts in the back orders. And is it worth it?
I don't know, man. It's hard telling. Honestly, a part of me just wants to go vintage and just be done with it. Maybe just go down to Wanamaker, just buy whatever looks good. Take $1,000 with me and just be done with it and just go home happy.
Oh, that's going to cost you more than $1,000.
No, I don't think so. You can get a good 336 for under $1,000 online. I mean, that kind of sets the market price. I see it a lot of the local gun stores and stuff. But
I mean, does the finish on it matter or anything else like that? Or you're just looking for 30-30 lever action? And
they age well. I would say I don't want something that's all pitted out and rusted. I'd like something that's got some patina, but has not been run over with an ATV or anything. I want something that looks decent. Looks like it's been used but not abused. But especially for that kind of money, you want to get something that's it's going to be.
Don't get one that was run over with an ATV. Run one over with your own ATV and
there you go.
Video.
Make it look weathered. Automatic. Just leave it out. Just leave it out over the wintertime. So head over. Let's head over to Gun Broker and see what we got here. I was going to show you guys the lever action. I just keep saying lever because I want to make Tony. I'm trying to trigger Tony here. Lever actions. If you want to get yourself a here's a 1951 336 RC for $699, which it's got a little bit of wear on it, but it looks freaking awesome. I'm just kind of curious if the bore in that thing isn't just shot out or not.
Travis,
yeah.
just skip right to the 45 long Colt lever actions.
Oh God, Tony's gonna get so. Don't say that. Long Colt's not real. That's just a marketing thing. It's 45 Colt because there's been no other 45 that. Like you're gonna mistakenly put 45 Colt. ACP in your 45 Colt revolver. You know, I'm sure some moron's probably done that, but yeah.
No, it's a long Colt because there's LC on it.
So Tony's screaming at me over here. I don't know what Tony. I don't know what a 39 is. Right? I don't have your wisdom. I don't have your knowledge. I'm awful with older guns. What is a 39? Somebody help me. Marlin 39, Ruger 39. That's why you need to be on the show, Tony, so you can discipline us in person instead of screaming from the sidelines. You should be here coaching us, Tony. It's your job to instruct us, but instead you're just sitting there chilling, yelling at us from the sidelines.
So. The 39, it's a 22.
Thank you. Good. That's all I wanted to know. Okay.
That's all right. That's 22.
Okay. Is it a Marlin? Because I guess we could have brought the list of models. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Tony not having the internet is saving all of us. Because he'd be letting all of us know.
The Marlin Model 39A. The Marlin Model Golden 39A. Is that what it's called?
Mine's not a golden.
Oh, okay. I'm looking up on Wikipedia to see what pops up there.
Yeah.
But okay. It's a beautiful looking gun. Yeah, it's a lever action 22, right?
Yeah.
They made 2.2 million of them. How I don't know about this is beyond me. So it's 22 short long.
So what's really cool about that, Travis? So I have several of them. You know, I got several Model 60s, which is automatic. Got the lever action. It's 39. These are all in 22 calibers. And then I got the bolt action 881s. You know, and so yeah, there's several good ones out there.
A lot of people know what they are, guys. I mean, and when it comes to the lever guns, I just bought a 336, and that was all the education I needed. So, looking at the model Golden 39A, there's different variations of it. These came around in 1891, is what it looks like. It started life as so the Golden Model 39A started life as a Marlin Model 1891, the first lever action rifle ever chambered in 22 LR, and the magazine was loaded through a conventional side gate in the receiver. So the tubular magazine was changed to front loading with the Model 1892 due to the difficulties of receiver feeding the small rimfire round. So there's been different variations of it. Okay.
Or you could just get a Golden Boy done.
Oh yeah, that's true. But I mean, mechanically, this is probably a little bit different, isn't it? I mean, it's going to be same form factor, but it's going to be a different. Internals are going to be different. The feel of it's going to be different. You know. I don't know. Let's check out. We can look up and see what these sell for. We can look that up real quick because I am kind of curious to see what we're looking at here.
I looked at some Uberti lever actions. They were in 357 Magnum and 45 Colt, and they're running about as much as the Marlins. So even going with something that's maybe a little bit more classic, not as fancy, don't have the new technology on it, still going to put you over the $1,000 range.
Okay. Yeah, I did find them for sale, and yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm looking at what's out there right now. Bidding, I don't do the bidding because I just do buy it now because I figure if you're going to get it, you're going to want it. Yeah, you're looking at $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, depending on what kind of provenance you want. Whether you want something with a box, you want something untouched, something original. You know, a good shooter, you're looking at $899. So, I mean, there's plenty of them for sale out there. You can choose them. These are all just buy it now. There's a ton of bidding ones. If you want to go on there and bid, you're not going to save much money. In fact, it'll probably cost you more if you get into a bidding war with somebody. But yeah, I mean, they're beautiful, definitely beautiful looking guns, very nice looking guns. So you got to decide if you want to go this route or if you want to go the next model up and get yourself the King's Gate. And then the last one that I was going to show off today, I mean, there's tons of models that they have, but do you guys have any in particular that kind of stand out for you? Do you guys, this Model 60, is that kind of your go-to when it comes to the Marlins? What do you guys think? Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with them.
I think the 60s might be the most popular, or probably more people have those. But like my bolt action 881, I taught all my kids and starting to my grandkids to shoot with that, like sitting down at the bench, because it is bolt action. You can load, one shell at a time, got a scope on it. And so, oh man, there's a lot of them. My dad has my grandpa's, well, it's 1894, it's the 3030, but yeah, I'd say the 60s are probably the most common. I don't know.
Yeah. And just looking at them, I would probably, nothing against the 1022. I've had two 1022s before. They're fine. Since I've never had a 60 before, I'd consider getting a 60. There's decent parts support out there for them, especially like on eBay. You can get most of what you need out there. Like trigger packs and stuff, if you got to get certain internal components and springs, you can always find a supplier, especially with something this popular that's been around for this long. Part support should not be an issue at all. So, $225, buy it now for a decent shooter you can pick up if you want to get one. I'd say pick one up if you're interested, because again, they're not going to go down in price.
For what? For which one?
The Model 60. Now you can get a Glenfield Model 75C, which was made by Marlin. And I don't know if those were meant to be sold through like certain department stores. That's the other thing too, is Marlin and a lot of these other companies, they manufactured and stamped somebody else's brand on it. They'd make it like Montgomery Ward and Sears, thinking of those companies that have made them. You might even be able to find those for less because not a lot of people know about them. They maybe just don't have that kind of name recognition. So you might get a good deal on one. You might be able to find something that's, is a Montgomery Ward. Now it could be an inferior model, but I doubt it. These were just, like I said, these companies would contract out and they would JCPenney or whatnot.
I have one that's Western Auto.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
it's so the auto parts stores back in the 60s, 70s, have a gun rack, Yeah.
I had an opportunity to buy a Marlin 60 once. It was back during the 2012 22 long rifle ammo crunch, back when you could get other calibers, but 22 long rifle, it just was unobtainium and it was crazy, stupid, expensive. And the guy had a Marlin 60. It was in good shape. It was, used. It was in good shape. And he had, I think, like 500 rounds of 22 long rifle with it. And the price he wanted was crazy stupid. I can't remember what it was, but I'm like, there's no way I could go buy a new one. He goes, you won't find the ammo for it. I go, dude, I'm setting on thousands of rounds of 22 long rifle. I don't need your ammo. He goes, but you could buy this with the ammo because I'm selling them together. You could buy it with the ammo, turn around, sell the ammo, and make your money back on the gun. That's how much
Then why don't you do it?
Then why don't you do it? Because I don't want to. I said, well, if you want to sell me that gun, good luck finding anybody else here at work, which, by the way, you're not supposed to bring a gun into work, but find somebody else here who's willing to buy this. You deal with the ammo. I don't want your crappy old ammo. And he wouldn't budge, but that was my one and only chance to get a Marlin Model 60. And I was just going to get it just to throw another gun in the safe. So
this is what you should have bought right here. You should have bought a tacked out Model 60.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that sporter beauty. Look at that. That just screams late 90s right there, guys.
It screams Bubba. Oh my goodness. They just ruined it.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. No, the thing is though, if they would remarket this, like if somebody would come out and sell, this would be the SHOT Show, this would be the new thing. The Model 60 TAC is what they're going to call it. So you got the adjustable rear sights, you've got the SKS inspired stock, you've got the you got the pistol grip going on there. Look at that. Look at that. It's probably California compliant. And the best part, layaway, boys. Go get it. There you go. $199. It could be yours right now if you want it. Now, I that's an abomination. I'm sorry. You guys might like it. If you do, I feel sorry for you. I would definitely go for a wood stock. But there's some beautiful ones out there. We some pristine models are pushing over 350 right now. But still, like I said, if you go get yourself a wood stocked Ruger 1022, we're looking at what, $275, $300 at this point. So there's a synthetic stocked one that's out there. Then we start to get into the M1 brands.
Just to make Squib feel really good today, that Marlin Model 60 might be the best all-around rifle ever made.
Ooh.
How much did Tony pay you to say that?
Well, the reason I was so comfortable in saying is I know you've heard me say that before too. So I'm already on the Model 60 shield train.
Yeah,
you're in the pocket of Big Marlin.
Yeah, it's fun. It is fun to take jabs at each other like that. I don't recall if I've ever shot a Model 60, but I'm sure with its how long it's been around and all that and all the support with it. For me, it's 1022 or Model 60. There's other 22s out there, but they're, in my opinion, they're probably about the same.
Thomas Reese says he's got a 25M 22 WMR bolt rifle. It's my favorite critter remover. Just looking over at Wikipedia, if this is correct, this is another 25N. Again, I do like a nice just 22 bolt action. I did have a Savage Mark II F, just their basic field grade model, and it was, aside from kind of a heavy trigger, it was a good little gun just to play around with. I mean, they're fun to learn on, they're fun to plink around with. Once in a while, it's fun just to take something different out to the range and just have a good time with it, you know. But if you go over to Wikipedia, they've got a listing of the major models that they produce, not everything, but a lot of them. Model 1881, 1893, 1894, 1895, all the different designations for it, all the different variations of it that are out there. Oh, and that's the other thing too. If you go over to, Ruger does have a little bit of support for, you know, the last of the Marlin guns that were made. Like, say you need to get yourself a instruction manual. So if you go over to the Marlin website, like I said, these are not in production anymore, but it always takes me a moment to switch screens here. You can see what was available towards the end of Marlin's production run. So maybe, possibly, who knows, maybe these will go back into production. I mean, maybe Ruger's going to be like, hey, we've sold, you know, 100 million 1022s. Let's go sell that same gun to the people that want the Marlin now, and they'll make a Model 60. I don't know. So this is not that you couldn't find these new floating around still, but these were kind of the last of the rimfires that Marlin manufactured. The XT series, the Model 60, and the Model 795. They do have the instruction manuals on there, but again, it does say no longer in production. So, and Ruger does say that they're not involved in the creation of the manuals. That's just if you need support for it. So they do have customer service you can call if you need to get those serviced if something would happen to them. So if you're interested, like I said, these were kind of the last of what they had from the rimfire series, which decent looking guns. So.
If Ruger's going to, just hypothetically speaking, they're going to bring the Model 60 back out, the marketing should be, we're going to bring the Marlin Model 60 back out, and all we're going to do is put Ruger on the outside of the box. Everything on the inside of the box is going to be exactly the same, just the name on the outside.
But there's no reason to buy it like that. If you market it as a Marlin, you're going to sell it because the Marlin guys are going to buy it because, oh my God.
Well, no, yeah, market it as the Marlin Model 60, and only thing that's going to say Ruger is the brown box that it comes in.
No, they got to keep the
Ruger
box
stamping on the gun, nothing, just the box.
Nah, I want the Ruger Model 60 for twice the cost of the Marlin.
And you have to put one of those stupid rotary mags in it.
Yeah, and it's going to take 1022.
Marlin sold more Model 60s than Ruger sold 1022s. Well, at some point it could change just because the 1022s are still in production. And there's like, so many variants of 1022 that you can get, so many different stock styles and takedown models. And I mean, I don't even know where you begin comparing. I could see that, Tony, because the 60s were sold for decades and decades and decades. You know, I understand that.
So did the Marlin Model 60 start before the Ruger 1022? There's one factor. The other thing is, was the Marlin Model 60 less money brand new, even if it's $5 less? There are some of you guys out there that will make a decision on buying a firearm over a $10 price difference. I don't get that, but hey, if that's what's going to break you, dude.
The 1022, is that a 10-round magazine all the way across the board? Like the standard mag that comes with it is 10.
It's
well, you
10.
can get the BX25s or whatever they're called. Yeah, you can get a 20 and probably some drum options aftermarket. So,
well, I'm talking about just like in the box that comes with, because I know Marlin before the assault weapons thing had 18 rounds in the tube, and then after there are 14 rounds in the tube. So if Ruger only offers a 10-round magazine, that extra 4 rounds might be incentive for people to buy more Marlins. Or the extra 8 rounds is definitely
well, there's always aftermarket companies that'll make. There's always a pro mag out there that'll make a 25 rounder for, you know, that gun if the company doesn't offer it. So 1022 was made was initially started manufactured in 1964. Unit cost in 1965 was $54.50. You know, adjusted for inflation, that's probably $300 now, I'm guessing. I don't know, if not more. I mean, inflation numbers are so whack, you really can't even say, well, it cost this much back then. Well, now it would cost you this much, right? So if you do an adjustment on it, 7 million were built as of 2015. And then they talk about the different variants of it. And I'm not trying to like shoot down Tony at all or anything like that. I'm just talking because I was kind of curious myself as to when the 1022 actually came out.
So the Marlin Model 60 went in production 4 years before the 1022. And as of 2020, there were over 11 million. So
Oh, yeah.
it's got 9 years. These statistics have got 9 years on the 1022. And if you were looking to get a 22 semi-automatic, there were others available. But if you were, and you already had one, why would you buy a second one? I don't see anything about what it cost back then. But
Yeah.
a lot of people, their decision on their firearm purchase really comes down to price. Seriously, it's not quality, it's not warranty, it's not, or it's availability. Right? There's a panic, and they run out and they buy what's available. But the thing about price is you find out that you paid less for it and the thing's a piece of junk, or you paid less for it and you can't get parts, or you paid less for it and there's no aftermarket support, or you paid less for it and it costs $9 a round to shoot, or something like that. So, back then, doing your research on guns probably was, well, I'm not going to say probably, it was more difficult than today, because you can't just do a Google search back then. So, you had to wait till the American Rifleman magazine came out to talk about it, or something like that.
Now, just to support my hypothesis that gun prices never go down, go over to True Gun Value, which analyzes average selling prices. I don't know where they pull their metrics from, but it seems to be true, right? Just off of what I see from like gun broker prices and local market prices. True Gun Value, if you look at the Model 60, they've gone up $75 in the last 12 months. That's almost 25%, and the average price is $225.63. Now, if we go over to Gun Broker, we see that. So you can see what your gun is going to be worth. It's just to kind of give you an idea if it's something that you want to get. Let's just type a 336 in here and see what pops up. I'm kind of curious to see if they have that information. The new value of a Marlin 336 rifle has risen $18.59 over the past 12 months to a price of $868. Now this says the value of a used Marlin 336 has fallen $50 over the past 12 months to a price of $722. The demand of the new Marlin 336 rifle has risen 13 units over the past 12 months. I'm not sure what that is, but so they're looking at the trade-in versus the new price. Used 722, new 868 if you can find a Marlin 336. And maybe the value is going down a little bit just because Ruger's announced that the 336 is going to go back into production. So that's quelling some of that increase in the demand of the current 336s that are out there. So I'm just saying, just kind of interesting to look at prices. You can type any gun in over at that website and it kind of gives you an idea as to the value of it. Now, it's not going to do you a whole lot for like a brand new firearm. So you put your Glock 17 Gen 5 in there. It's not really going to tell you anything. This works more for, just like your vintage guns, like say like a C308 or an FAL, or if you're kind of curious to see what stuff has gone up. It might blow your mind. I'm just saying personally, like I paid $700 for my 336 used, but it did have a nice optic on it. It was in really good condition. It was a pre-Freedom Group model. It was a 1999 manufacturer. And that one would probably sell for almost $1,000 now, just looking at what they go for. So,
well, your business transaction every single time is going to be subject to inflation. And the economy. So if you have the option and you know what you're doing, or you have friends you can rely on, if you can buy gun show stuff or private sale stuff to where you can negotiate outside of inflation, that'd probably be your best move. But going into a store, a gun is just a product, and it's subject to bubble gum, bottled water, steak. All of these prices are going to go up and stuff like that based on the economy. So if you can find used guns off of the business market, like a private sale, that would probably be your best way to fight inflation and different stuff like that. Because Marlin has no choice. When diesel goes up $5 more a gallon, they're raising the prices on everything. They have no choice.
My store bicep says JM Marlins might continue to rise in price. They do. I just know for a fact they've gone up at least probably $100 a year is what we're looking at right now. I've just been tracking them because I've been thinking about buying one. Every time I look, they're $700, then they're $800, then they're $900. Some of it depends on the year manufacturer. Some of it depends on the condition. There's kind of an average that you see. Now, this doesn't mean this is what you're going to pay at your local gun show, or you're going to pay it like a local FFL that has one for sale. But yeah.
I'd like to add something too, Travis.
Do it, buddy.
When sometimes that, I don't know if we'll see this much anymore. Of course, guns are always going to probably go up, but in my lifetime, buying some cheaper guns at the time, say some Marlins, or cheaper priced, I guess I should say, they've gained the most value out of any guns that I probably own, because I've literally bought Marlin 60s as cheap as $60,
Okay.
You know, and 3030, the 336. I think I have one in there I paid 125 for.
Oh my God.
You know, and I still have almost every one of these.
Yeah.
And they've gone more up in price more than anything I've owned. You know, my Smith & Wesson, you know, any of that stuff as far as from what I paid for them to what they worth now.
And just look, the
So
fact
you
that
never
once it goes out of
know.
business, the price is immediately going to
Yeah.
go up. You know,
So
that's
you
like, oh
never
my God, no
know
more. Yeah.
what's going to happen in the future, you know.
What's really bad about this is this makes me want to go down to my local small gun store, just see what's sitting on the racks and go buy something. So you got any Marlins? You know, I'm really tempted to just get out there and just do some damage today to the checking account. Now, since we're kind of towards the end of the discussion here, Anne Marie B's got a question. I'm new and I went looking at rifles last night online. What's a good starter rifle? I did notice some were priced in the thousands. I don't need that, LOL.
Can I address this before you guys go?
Do it. We have this question quite often, so we're experts.
Yeah, that's why I want to help Anna from a viewer's perspective. Welcome, excellent to have you. The firearms community, I hate that word, is a very excellent community, especially the one that you found yourself in today. When you ask firearms questions in chats like these, make sure you have an extremely long list of follow-up answers, because no one is going to answer your direct question. That's not how, it's not out of, I'm not trying to be meaner. I'm just trying to help you understand how chats in this area of the gun community work. Because right now, everyone's going to ask you, what's it for? Where do you live? What state are you in? What's your budget? Are you a hunter? Are you a target shooter? Is it self-defense? How many people live in your house? Do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a farm? So asking that question is great. You've come to a really great place to ask these questions, but make sure that you have a lot of other detailed answers, because that question is going to get you 50 questions yourself. So anyway, go on, Travis.
Now, we're not scoffers. We're not trying to be cringy here. It's just that we want to help you select what's going to work best for you and keep you out of trouble. All right. Just because you could buy something, somebody's going to sell you something and it might not be something you can legally own or whatnot. Go ahead, Squib.
I'd like to elaborate some on what Kingpin said. So Roll Call 219 doesn't call it a community. He calls it a culture. And I kind of like that. So somebody might want to adopt that too. But the other thing is, the reason there are so many questions is because somebody new asked these questions. What's the best bullet, right? They don't even say caliber. What's the best bullet? What's the best gun? And it's not a cut and dry answer. And these other questions that follow up, like, what's your state laws? What are you using it for? Do you live in an apartment or a house? Or are you in the country, in the city? It's things like that, right? These all factor into the decision-making process that all of us make who have more experience. And instead of just going cut and dry, Marlin Model 60 is the best. Cut and dry, the Glock 19 is the best, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's so inaccurate, right?
So she's
and what I think,
no ARs. Okay. Go ahead.
Well, what I like is not necessarily what somebody else would like, or what I've got experience with that works well for me. Somebody else might try and go, this just isn't doing it. So there's a reason why there's all these follow-up questions. It isn't to intimidate you. It isn't to scare you away. It isn't to interrogate you or anything else. It's because there are that many different, what would you guys call it? Variables?
Life experiences that influence what we're going to tell you. Yeah. Okay. So if it's not an AR, oh my God, this is not easy. All of us are going to give you a different answer. Okay. So
okay, you said not an AR, and that would be my first go-to. Go to an AR.
Maybe you should go get yourself a 357 lever gun and just call it good. It's gonna have to be Massachusetts approved. I think they have some sort of roster that's probably just.
Oh, that's why there's no AR.
It's Massachusetts, no AR. Apparently, no AR. So I mean, you can probably get Massachusetts approved ARs. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not. So anyway, this is okay. Just Amory B, if you want something that's simple to operate, that's the recoil is not going to be punishing, that will protect you, that will protect your family, that you can still hunt with, that's relatively, well, it's not relatively affordable to shoot, but I would honestly say get yourself a 357 Magnum lever gun. What do you guys think? Is that
ammo costs? Yes. Ammo costs.
Well, right? I mean, it depends on how much you plan on shooting it. I'm just saying, if you want something simple, if you want some, now, I mean, rifle wise, I mean, you could always get yourself a bolt action rifle if you're looking at. Are we talking self-defense here? Because I want to think like maybe like a Ruger PCC might be kind of nice also, just because you can get the Glock mag compatibility. 9mm, 10-round mags. They may be Massachusetts approved. You're gonna have to find out what's Massachusetts approved. If you can get an AR, I mean, it might have like certain features that are not going to be on it that might make it more difficult to use. Mini 14
Mini
is okay
14
for Massachusetts.
is so
Can I give
expensive
mine?
compared to an AR.
Well, she's only going to get one. Is it really that expensive compared to an AR? She might spend $800 or $900 for Massachusetts approved AR. So go ahead.
I have a
Hillbilly.
recommendation.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt the High Point 9mm carbine.
Does it have 10-round mags available?
It does. Yep, that's all it has. Unless you get the red ball mags. Yeah. So a High Point 9mm carbine or 40 Smith carbine or 45 carbine, hell, you can get them in $380, $300, $350. It's going to give you good velocity. It's going to give you, and they run, you know. And I made a cleaning video. You can watch my cleaning video on how to clean them because I've got an early gen 995. So 9mm High Point carbine, if they're Massachusetts approved. I don't know if they are because of the metal they make them out of. They might have a pot metal rule in Massachusetts.
Now, Hillbilly, those have got a lifetime warranty, right?
Yes,
They do.
sir. And you don't have to be the original owner either.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So if it's a transferable lifetime on that, then there's a plus to it, especially for a new owner. Not that you expect the thing to break, but are you just thinking good entry level? Because I mean, I've shot at one in 40, and I thought it was, even though I'm not a High Point guy, I'm like, this isn't a bad. It's light.
You got a good barrel length that's going to generate good energy. You can run any ammo through it that you basically want to.
They seem to run about anything, no matter what caliber. The price is cheap. And that's the reason I was saying for a first timer. You still use it planking. You know, you can use it as a self defense. You know, I just talking about in general for low cost. I know, like, I have 3 daughters and then plus my wife. That is their favorite gun to shoot because I have the fold down forearm, you know, grip on it. It's light. It actually has, I don't know if it helps any or not, but it's got that little spring loaded recoil butt on the bottom of it. So maybe that's just in their head or whatever, which they don't recoil much at all. But I was just going off of, you know, the 4 ladies in my life. That's their go-to every time.
So according to northeastshooters.com, just looking at it, Cape Gunworks has got 995 TSs for $337. They are Massachusetts compliant, which is cool. The trigger's heavy enough, they probably don't even have to modify the trigger. So, like, if you want something that's going to be something you can shoulder, that's going to be easy to be accurate with, they are very accurate. They're light recoil. Magazines are $25 for them. I'd recommend you maybe learn how to take it apart and clean it. They're not that easy to take apart and clean, but you can take it right out of the box and shoot it. I mean, I know it sounds crazy us recommending a High Point, but if you're limited with the platforms you can run, I do like the Ruger pistol PCC, the Ruger pistol caliber carbine. I like that a little bit better because you can get different stocks for it. You know, it does store easily. They may make a Massachusetts compliant. I would imagine that they do, but you're also going to pay double what you're going to pay for a High Point carbine. If it's just a first kind of rifle to get into it, you really can't go wrong with it. And they do keep their resale value too. And they've got different models that have red dots on them or lasers or whatever you want, whatever your budget will allow, different finishes and colors.
One suggestion.
Yep, go ahead.
For the lady that's just starting out, if you have a gun range down here in Massachusetts that allows you to rent a firearm, go ahead and go down there and try several of them and see.
Now, are they only going to have rentals for what's Massachusetts compliant? Will they only have mass compliant models there, or do you think they'll have stuff that they can have because they're a dealer, an FFL, or SOT?
Right. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't be able to sell or rent anything that's not Massachusetts compliant. So you're good in that aspect of it. That's the biggest suggestion that I can give to someone that's starting out. You know, for a rifle, shotgun, handgun, whatever the case may be, is to rent one at the range there and try it. See how you're going to like it.
What I would do if I was in your situation, just kind of new to the game, just get a High Point carbine, get a couple boxes of Hornady critical defense, make sure it'll cycle, and you're good. You know, get yourself some extra mags for it, get yourself some extra ammo. I know it's crazy, but with taking the AR and the AK platform out of it just removes a huge chunk of what's out there. And there's probably something we're totally missing right now that would be an option. But I do like the Ruger PCC because it's well built. It has good balance. You're getting a good value for the money. You've got tons of magazine options, compliant magazines that are out there with the option of Ruger mags or Glock mags. You get adapters for both, if I'm not mistaken, when you buy it.
Yep.
Variety of different, stocks that will fit you. But again, that's the high point carbine is pretty easy to use. Slap a mag in, pull back on the charging handle, go do work. I mean, that's all it is,
It kind of
So,
sucks that the AR is taken out of the equation because there's so many different things you can do with it. You buy it out of the box, you don't like this, you change it out. You need a different caliber, or you want a different caliber, you change the upper in some cases and use the same mag and bolt and things like that. There's just so many different things you can do to it after you get it to customize it to what you want for its purpose and what you want as far as how you like to hold it, how you like to shoot. And because the ammo is plentiful and inexpensive, the recoil is light and all that, the gun is light. I mean, and really, if a conscript can take this thing apart and clean it blindfolded, okay, anybody can learn how to maintain it. So, and there's so much support out there for it. So it kind of sucks when there's a state law limiting it or outright making it just unobtainium, because people look at it and they just see this scary, evil. This is a weapon of war, and they don't realize how many other things.
So,
it's whatever you do with it. You know what I mean?
The Massachusetts thing, it looks like
Right.
you can have a pistol grip as long as it doesn't have a threaded barrel. That's what I'm seeing. It does not have a grenade launcher, threaded barrel, bayonet lug, and it only has a pistol grip.
But that's
it says
Maryland's got something similar. It's called the 3-strike rule or something like that, where you can't have more than 3 assault weapon options on it at one time. So you can have a pistol grip, but you can't have this and that, or you can have this and that, but you can't have this other thing. And that's the problem that she's going to come into with something like
the threaded barrel rule, dude. That's so many guns out there that have it. So many rifles. I was going to recommend like a Ruger.
Yeah.
Man, I would almost do a search on Massachusetts compliant
It
rifles and
just
then
boils
find
down
something that
to
looks like it might
government
work there.
controlling the people. That's all. Yeah.
Well,
The high point
yeah,
does
I-
not
and I-
have
I-
a pistol grip.
I hate that word, assault rifle. Those 2 words just irritate me to the core. There's no such thing.
Or assault weapon, because you can apply it to anything.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
because I think he means assault weapon, because assault rifle is a thing, but assault
Right.
weapon isn't.
Now there are
Right.
California compliant high point carbines, so those could be also Massachusetts compliant.
Yeah,
If you
but
can't
I
have
don't
the
think
pistol.
their pistols are in California. So there's a difference between the pistol and the carbine, I believe, on the California roster.
It's hard to find information on this. If
Yeah,
it
and
is
see, with
compatible.
these restrictive states, it's so difficult that, and then you wonder why some companies don't even want to ship there. It's because they change like the YouTube terms of service, don't they? I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
just don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just as ridiculous.
I gave her the link to Gun Toting Pacifist channel. He lives in the general area, so he would know the rules and regulations. There's also another channel. If you type in right to arm bears like grizzly bears, well, actually polar bears. He's another one that lives up in that area who's super into firearms, got a huge collection. And if you go to his channel, he could help you, navigate around what's legal and what isn't, and what you can have and can't have. Because unfortunately, squibs in Michigan, hillbillies in Kentucky, I'm in Maryland, all of the different states won't know your exact rules the same way you would. We can look them up on the internet and then not get it right. And you'd be like, well, that's not true just because the internet said it. Squib talks about that all the time with Michigan. People say, oh my God, this happened in Michigan. Squib's like, no, it didn't.
So here's Impact Guns. Impact Guns has Massachusetts legal guns. They have an entire link. So what I'm going to do is, Anne-Marie, I'm going to go ahead and post this. You can just look at this and look at your budget. These are all Massachusetts compliant guns. So there are ARs that are compliant, but who knows what the modifications are that they made to it. It could be worse to own than, say, something else. But those are all from Impact Guns. That'd be a good place to order from. I trust them. These are all Massachusetts compliant, either because of the trigger weight or because of the features that they have or don't have. There are some rifles that are on. In fact, I think I saw a Smith & Wesson M&P. That is, yeah, they make an M&P. Well, that's okay. That's an AR. That's a 308. You're not going to want that, maybe, but just to kind of give you an idea. Okay, there's a Wyndham Weaponry Massachusetts compatible or Massachusetts compliant AR. So if you look on there,
I might would suggest also
bill.
just calling your local sheriff's office. They should have a
Yeah.
list, and kind of have a
Yeah.
pretty good idea.
Yep. So if you can't get the high point, we recommend it just because they're cheap and they work. But if you can't, you're gonna have to do some research on it. Okay. I listened to Cape Gunworks. He's from Massachusetts too. Cape Gunworks, if they've got a gun store, I've heard of them. If they do have like a listing online that you can go look at, consider going that route. Here's another channel, Squibload's recommending Rupan RX. He's in Massachusetts also. Check his channel out. If you ask him a question, he'll reply to you, say, hey, I want a rifle. What do you recommend? What do you do? What do you own? What do you recommend? So,
yeah. Jared will help you out. These
are all good people that you can trust. Okay.
Yeah. And Hillbilly, I like the fact that you said that, that high point carbine will run anything. That is another factor to take into, what ammo's available, how much are you willing to spend on it? Travis is talking about running hollow point shoot to make sure it works. I think that's a good idea too, but just the fact, because we know some guns are finicky, right? So that kind of makes it a little bit easier, especially for a beginner. And then as you progress and end up like the rest of us with an arsenal behind you, you'll know which ones like to run what kind of ammo, right? You're going to have that in stock.
I bought an M14. Was that okay? It was grandfathered in. Yeah. It'd be hilarious. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I mean, this has been a good discussion. Yeah, Squib has several, but no, I appreciate the question. That was a fun way to end it because we're just throwing it out there. I'm like, get a 336. It'll fix your problems. I'm not saying that 336 can ever be banned, but they seem to have survived the test of gun legislation time. You can't argue that lever guns, it's grandpa had one, they're still here. So consider one. Heck of a firearm, guys. That's all I got to say. So anything. So that's it. That's our discussion on Marlin, just to kind of see what's out there. I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week. Just to get my own little plug out there, I will be making some gun videos this week. I've got to take out a high point JXP10. We're going to chronograph test it, accuracy test it. I've got a Bear Creek Arsenal 762 by 39 that I had to order a new firing pin for because the stock firing pin broke again. So we're going to be taking that out. I'll be talking about that in the video that happens on those 762 by 39s with surplus ammo. I've also got I got a new optic I need to dial in on my Daniel Defense M4A1. And also we got to take out the Beretta A300 Patrol. I've got a bunch of different ammo lined up for it. And I just ordered some Flight Control LE 12 gauge double-aught buck, 9-pellet double-aught buck. I found some online on Gunbroker. It is legal to own. It's just really hard to find because it's just not out there on the shelves. But I got 50 rounds of that coming.
I'll be
interested. That gun was designed. It was designed around that round. That's what it was intended for because that's the LE round that's going to be carried into by most departments. So nice. Yeah, we'll see how it runs. Now I'm a little disappointed in it. I had some issues with the sling swivels. I also had it kind of fell over on the side just on my gun mat, and like the screw popped out of the top of the freaking ghost ring sight. The one of the two screws that hold the ghost ring sight in place like fell out. It wasn't even screwed in. Like they set the screw in there, thought they torqued it, never actually torqued it, and the screw just popped out. I'm like, what in the? Oh my God!
On a Friday afternoon, Travis. Friday afternoon.
It was a Friday afternoon gun. Just that, and then the sling swivels. Now somebody told me you can put an Allen key in there, and you can rotate those swing swivels, and they'll slightly rotate out, and they'll clear the flashing and the molding of the stock. I don't know if that's true or not on that particular gun, but I ended up having to buy a special sling swivel from Blue Force Gear that actually fit. It's just crazy. So it's just, oh my God, I feel like I bought a first-year production car. I feel like I bought a 1991 Dodge Ram or something, 92. So anyway, we will go. So GTP Production says, I'm jealous. I still can't find the Tiger Stripe. Check Gunbroker Daily. They have popped up at MSRP, $1,099 on Gunbroker. Buy it now. There's 4 or 5 that have popped up on there. Now it's going to be hard because that gun's getting really popular. There's a lot of videos out there on it now. Everybody wants the Tiger Stripe finish, and there's only 1,500 of them out there. So GTP, I'm willing to trade you mine for a pickup if you have one. We can work out some kind of a deal. Not even fired, freshly cleaned. I'll even throw in some ammo. Heck, the ammo's worth more than the gun. So, like 22s. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call it here. But no, seriously, I will trade it for a pickup truck if you have one. So just call me, GTP. We'll make a deal. So I'll even ship it to you for free. All right. Okay, guys, that's it. We're going to go ahead and let the panel give us their final plugs here. We'll give a little shout out on the YouTube side, and we will go from there. All right, so Single Shot, anything you want to say before we go?
Well, it was a very good chat to you this morning, my friend, and thanks for the invite. I appreciate it.
We could probably have an episode on every model if we wanted to, but we just kind of wrap it all up into one, just to have a good chat. Plus, with the new guns coming out.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'd like to invite everybody I'd like to invite everybody over to Daywolf on Rumble. Check out my channel over there, as well as Single Shot here on YouTube, or on YouTube, I should say. Take care. God bless. America moves by truck, folks. Be careful. Be safe.
There you go. There you go. GTP, you sure it's a 79 Tacoma? Didn't the Tacomas come out like in the 90s? Maybe you got a 1999 Tacoma. I'll trade you my shotgun for a Toyota Tacoma. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, it'll probably last longer. So, woo. All right. Thank you, Single Shot. Make sure you guys get over there, support him on Rumble, give him some love. All right, Squibload. Anything you would say before we go?
I didn't think I'd have a lot to add to this show because I don't own a Marlin and that sort of thing. But the show kind of went in different directions, and I think it was pretty good overall. So thanks for the invite. Love the audience participation today. I don't always look over there, and all I have to do is just click this over here. It says comments, and I could read and be on it, but I don't. So I wasn't always over there, but saw a lot of good interaction. People weren't as cranky this weekend, Travis.
No, everybody's happy.
Yeah,
everybody's
they
happy.
got their coffee and.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just last week was just bitter. Everyone's in a bad mood. Nobody was smiling. Today. We're all just yelling at each other. I know. Anne-Marie, we're a cranky group sometimes, so be ready for that. So, all right, Squib, I'm glad to have you with us. And again, I kind of wanted you here just because of that whole Henry versus Marlin debate that we could host. You know, do you just get the Henry now or wait for the Marlin or buy the Marlin vintage? It's so, these first world problems are so gripping sometimes. A man just does not know what a man is supposed to do. So I just say go buy them all. Get your credit card out and go buy them all. That's it. Yep. Life's too short to not enjoy them. You know, I could get run over by an ice cream truck tomorrow and not be here next Saturday. And
if you don't want to use a credit card, just take out a personal expense loan with your financial institution. Make sure the credit terms are good. You know, the interest is whatnot. Make sure you don't just get enough for the firearm. You get enough to pay for shipping, the transfer fee, extra mags, ammo, spare parts, maybe some accessories for. Just roll it all into one. You pay it off in a year or two. You won't miss it. You won't miss that little bit of money because they're only going to go up in price, right, Travis?
Yes, and every time you go to the range, it's just going to put a smile on your face, and it's worth it. So that's what's important to remember. So, all right. American Hillbilly, what do you think, man? Are you in a gun buying mode right now? Are you ready to go out and go get something or what?
Well, I just recently bought that High Point JPX 10 millimeter, so I'll probably wait a week or two. But
you need to feed it. That's cheap, isn't it? Actually, 10 millimeter is not that bad. I get 10 millimeter for $25 a box up here.
Oh,
it's
wow.
really sad.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad.
No, it's an Ammo Inc. brand, but still, you know,
It's 25 for 50.
Yeah,
it's cheaper than 45 ACP.
Nobody's buying it, so Shields is marketing it. Yeah, if I get 30 will get me a box of Federal, and then 40 will get me a box of SIG. Those are all just round nose ball ammo. That's no.
You're still paying less than 45. That's nuts.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Isn't that crazy? I know.
So Hillbilly, by getting a 10 millimeter, you're saving money.
You are.
Yeah,
you're saving money. Yep.
Just a box of CCI around here for 50 rounds is like $38.
Oh man. You need to have if your family comes out here to Thunder on the Prairie, they need to go to Shields to stock you up on ammo, dude.
Yeah.
Or just if it runs well, just go buy in bulk online. You can probably get it for 2/3 of that price. You just get yourself like a 500 round order and just pay once, cry once, whatever. Buy once, cry once. So yep. Cool. All right, make sure you guys check out Hillbilly Up, the American Hillbilly channel. Lots of good stuff going on there. Looking forward to seeing your JXP10 video.
We have.
If you need any help, you can watch my cleaning video on how to take it apart and clean it because it's so much fun.
Yeah, and also my live is tonight 9 Central, Guns, Beer, and Therapy. We just try to have a lot of fun over there and talk about some guns, but then also a few other topics and stuff. So always just try to have a good time. And like I said, other than the videos I got out, and then like I said, I got some coming out this week. So anyway, I appreciate you having me on here, Travis. Great panel, great side chat. I love it. Yep.
Good having you here, and have yourself a good weekend, and appreciate you having you here. I'll try to jump on tonight if I can. Depends if I'm doing anything with friends or family, but if I'm around, I'll stop by and say hello. So there you go. All right, Defense Dad says, okay, I woke back up. You may continue. Yes, sir. Yes, almighty Defense Dad. Thank you, Defense Dad. Yes. Anne-Marie B says, have a blessed day, everybody. Thanks for your help as always. Hey, we're here to help. It's what we can do. So Eduardo Espinoza says, true, spend it before inflation. There you go. It ain't gonna get any cheaper. That's all you need for the argument with a significant other when it comes time to buying guns. And last but not least, the kingpin. Anything you want to say before we go, bro?
Yes, Defense Dad, we will continue ending the show.
Yeah, this is just part 2. Yep. Continue ending the show.
I love a good conversation. This was tops in my book. A really, really great chat. As far as Anne Marie and anybody else goes, ask all the questions that you can muster up to ask and be prepared. These guys are mega gun nerds. So one question could be a 3-hour-long conversation about a spring. So don't get overwhelmed in that, because I'm you. I'm you. I ask these guys tons and tons of questions all the time because they just know that much and they're so passionate about answering this stuff. Yeah. So ask all your questions that you have and just be prepared to be overwhelmed with answers. Thank you for having me. Great to see everybody in the chat, and check out Rick's Life at 3:00.
Absolutely, man. Good. And then the after show on the Squiblo channel, is that going to happen then too? Or that's going to be the After Rick's Live show? Is that what this is going to be called?
Nobody commented on it, so I'm going to do it anyhow.
There you go. All right.
If somebody jumps on, they jump on. So whatever time we end Rick's show, I don't know. It could be an hour, could be 2 hours. I don't know how long I'm going to run it, but I'm not going to run it that long. Okay. And I don't. If nobody joins, or people are busy doing other stuff, so be it. That's what I get for not posting something in the community tab, right? So.
Oh, and by the way, just for the record, in the poll, the majority of people were Marlin owners. It was like 62, or it was like 58 to 42 or something like that.
Rigged.
Well, I can't even vote on it. If I could vote on it, it'd have been rigged. So
no, yeah. Tony logged on with 11 different accounts.
Probably. TY, York Minster, Tony, TY, Tony Y, TONEE, Tony Tone. Oh man, there we go. Defense Dad says, I commented on it. I even gave you a better name for the show. Gave you a better name for the show. What are you talking about? What's better than Caliber Corner? There's no better name than that. What are you talking about? We are supreme here. So
Lever Lane.
Here you go. Oh, Rick's Afterlife.
Rick's Afterlife. Oh, for my show. Okay.
Rick's Afterlife. Oh God. Now, what are we talking about here today, Squib? I don't know. I do pretty good Rick's impersonation. So
Rick's Afterlife is going to be great because
I don't know why I got invited to this show. I'm sleeping.
Squib's going to have to host it on a giant homestead with some chickens and stuff.
There you go. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, we'll be in some hidden location south of Chicago.
Make sure you say you're going to talk about guns, politics, and whatever else crosses your mind. So there you go. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call this one. So shout out on the YouTube side to Tony York, Defense Dad, Tommy Gunn, GTP Productions, Sunny Guns, Eduardo Espinoza, Defense Dad, Thomas Rees, Anne Marie B is out there. Let's see, Weston Probst is watching, M. Gabriel, JH586, Patriot in the Dark, 500 Magnum, my mom, Kim Williams. Let's see, with tacos and French fries, Fluffy 10mm Jeep Guy, M. Gabriel, Kevin Jung Woods. Had a pretty good crowd today. Ryan the Lion in the house. Let's see who else is out there. It might be about it. I'm not sure. Weston Probe, Centurion 1006 watching with us today. Gizzard Gary out there. Try to watch you guys and see if you pop up. Mysore Biceps out there. Thomas Rees watching today. Yeah, Hillbilly up out there. The whole Squib Empire's over there and over here today too. Good stuff. I'm out there apparently making comments. So, all right, that's it. This has been episode number 273. If you guys ever have a suggestion for a topic, you can email me at thecalibercorner@gmail.com. Also, make sure you check out my channel for information on Thunder in the Prairie 2023, what's going to happen and when, what it's going to encompass. We did a pretty thorough overview of the show, what's going to take place. I'm also going to do an unboxing of this massive box that Cleanse Oil sent me. All this cool swag that's going to go to attendees on Thunder in the Prairie 2023 just to see what they sent us. Very gracious of Cleanse Oil to do so, the official cleaning supply and product of Thunder in the Prairie 2023. But in the meantime, I want you guys to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia.